Will the Kindle 2 be closing your local library? It's time to check the spine on Amazon's new e-reader in the loop. Joining me from New York to help make sense of it all, senior editor for CNET.com, Dan Ackerman joins us. How are you, Dan?
Hey, what's going on?
Not a lot, actually. I was just reminiscing over the two Kindles that I've busted with the announcement of the Kindle 2 today. So tell me what's new. Is it any sturdier? Do we at least know that? Will this thing break if you look at it the wrong way?
Well, this is kind of a textbook example of a second-generation product. You know, they added more memory, they made it a lot thinner, they improved the battery, they cleaned up some of the control problems. So it's really, they took a lot of the feedback about the first one, but all the publicity photos I see is somebody reading this thing at the beach, and for $360, I hope it's pretty, you know, sandproof and waterproof. I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, it literally, like, if you squeezed it too hard, if you squeezed it harder than you would to check a loaf of bread to see if it's gone bad, the thing would just crack and shatter. I mean, that was my only real problem with the first one. But what's the general consensus here? Overall, do the internet seem to be happy that there's more memory, that there's, you know, there's some extra features here and there?
You know, they took a bunch of the features that people were not so happy about the first time, and they improved them and stuff, but it's still kind of a very kind of specialty, niche product. It's not really for everybody, and it's still really expensive.
Right. Well, Dan, one feature that you mentioned that the video was the woman reading it at the beach, and there's a part where she plugs in her headphones, because now this thing offers text-to-speech. And real quick, I want to give our audience a listen in case they didn't get a chance to hear it. This is Kindle 2. This is the new text-to-speech feature.
With Kindle's new text-to-speech function, you can switch from reading to listening on the fly.
Enclosed spaces were one thing. Cramped, enclosed spaces were another. He wasn't claustrophobic. More a sense of freedom denied.
Okay, so if Satan crapped a speak and spell, it would be the Kindle text-to-speech feature, right, Dan? I mean, is this...
It's like we're in the Stephen Hawking book club.
Exactly. I mean, was anybody blown away by this?
You know, it's something that didn't cost them anything really to add. It's a little extra they can put as a bullet point on, but I don't think anybody's going to be sitting there listening to their books, you know, like that.
Right. I mean, yeah, maybe I did hear the argument, well, it'd be perfect to have your Kindle read a recipe or something of that nature. I think that'd be fine, but I think you'd be ready to kick the robot out of the kitchen after about step 3.
You know, books on tape are really popular, but they hire, like, real actors to do those.
Exactly, exactly. Well, one thing that isn't there, I noticed, is the sparkle ribbon's gone. Remember that, where you could quickly navigate and see where you were in a book or a page?
But you know what? People hated that, and they actually have a little 5-way switch now that's a lot more responsive. And the keyboard, instead of being one of those weird split ergonomic keyboards, is a regular keyboard. So people are generally a lot happier with the controls now.
Okay, and I know the page refresh is a little quicker as well. Some people are complaining that the screen isn't larger, but it seems like there is real estate for that. Are you one of those that feels that way, Dan?
You know, I'm not sure we need the full keyboard on there. You know, my iPhone is a tiny keyboard. All those smartphones have tiny keyboards. I'm not sure we need the big keyboard taking up so much space. I'd rather see more screen, less plastic.
Right. Well, we know the Kindle gets a lot of attention, especially now that they announced the new one. Everybody's talking about it. But, I mean, I saw maybe a handful of Kindles in the wild at airports. I mean, is this thing ever going to become as mainstream as something like an iPod or an iPhone or even your average netbook that people are walking around with?
It's one of the things that everybody writes about, but you never see anybody with them. Right. Every once in a while, somebody says, oh, I saw somebody with a Kindle on the train, but it's surprising because it's the one guy you saw. Amazon always says they're sold out of these things, but they don't say how many they actually have. So it made 50 of them, sold them all. Hey, we're sold out, hooray!
Yeah, so what, you say, are we 5 to 10 years away, or are people, because here's the thing, everything has an e-book reader on it now. I mean, Google, of all companies, just released one for the iPhone. So in your estimation, 5 years from now, are we going to see us reading e-books on other devices, or will the Kindle or even the Kindle 3 be the way we're doing it?
Well, that's the thing. We're moving towards devices that do more rather than single devices that specialize in something. And you know what? If you've got a book out right now, chances are you want to make an iPhone app. Just download the software kit, make your own iPhone book app, put it up there on the App Store for whatever price you want to charge, or free, which is something that's really hard to do on the Kindle. You have to go through all kinds of Amazon hoops to get on the Kindle system.
All right, so Dan, they addressed a lot of concerns. It's still fairly expensive at over $300. Do you recommend that people buy a Kindle 2 now, or should they wait? You know, I mean, they're going to be released later this month. Should they start virtually lining up, or should they give it some time?
Well, I think if you wait towards the holiday season, they'll probably cut that price. And, you know, as a writer, every day some schmuck comes up to me and says, hey, nobody reads anymore. So the fact that we're talking about this means people are still interested in reading and writing, and I think that's a good thing.
Right, I agree. All right, so hang off to the end of the year, get it at a cheaper price, and by then maybe they'll have a better voice than the crazy robot to read you your books.
Than Stephen Hawking, yes.
Dan, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you keeping us in the loop.